No, it
Let
doesn't
the
matter.
autism begin.
I'm going to go live whether you guys ready or not. But we are. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to another fantastic episode of Anarchy Among Friends Roundtable Discussion. Before we get started, let me first remind you that we are covered by the BIPCOT No Government License, which allows for the use and the reuse of this podcast by everyone except for government and the bludgies thereof. You can learn more about that at bipcot.org. That is BIPCOT.org. We're also covered by Brandenburg v. Ohio, 1969, which ruled that the government
one today.
Yes, which ruled that the government cannot punish inflammatory speech unless that speech is, quote, directed to inciting or producing imminent lawless action and is likely to incite or produce such action. Therefore, everything said here on Anarchy Among Friends Roundtable Discussion is entirely hypothetical. This is episode 183, and yes, Rust Belt Renegade. LOL, just glad YouTube didn't give you guys the yeetus, delete us like Twitter. Yes, that was going to be topic number one. All of us and the podcast channel or the podcast account, we all got the deleteroo.
Yep.
And
100 other people.
We were all victims of the purge.
Yep. Us, our homie Jack, Magnus, and Bonnie, who recorded with. Magnus, who we recorded with a couple times.
Trashman and Oldman, who we also recorded with.
Yep. Trashman, Oldman, who we recorded with. Phoenix Ammunition got deleted. There's something like I read someone's a thing on Twitter about it. It was like it was close to like 600 accounts that just poofed,
including alts, everything just gone.
Yep,
all at once.
Yep. Like I lost the account I don't even use. Like holy crap.
Yep. Oh yeah, several people said they had like alts they hadn't used in like 2 years, and they also got yeeted. Yeah,
mine skirted under because it was deactivated because I accidentally created it when I got my new phone, so I deactivated it because it was bothering me, and then so I guess because it was deactivated, it skirted under. And I just reactivated it, and it's fine so far. So far.
Yeah. So you're on. I'm back on. I was I had to make one. I had to make a new one. I still got an appeal on the other one, but I had to make a new one because Typo.
Those appeals are just going to be ignored.
I know, but Typo from Biting the Bullet posted a screenshot of my account. This account has been suspended, and captioned it. All my friends are being deleted. My enemies are being verified.
Yep, exactly. So, yeah, it's
how could I not come back after Typo from Biting the Bullet did that?
They still haven't had me on, so I mean, it's. I can only care so much.
Yeah, they also banned certain. Broski says they also banned certain links to websites. Yes, linking. I tried to link our Anchor profile for the Anarchy Among Friends Anchor profile, and it was it said that it was malware. I couldn't link our Anchor.
Yep. Yeah. Magnus can't. His conspiracies. He can't.
Neither can Felix. No.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah. They're all of their.
They blew up Phoenix Ammunition too, didn't they?
Yeah. Phoenix is gone.
Yes. Yeah. So I'm not going to be able to share.
They got yeeted the day before, and they came back. Or no,
as a second one, and it got deleted again.
That one got nuked with everybody.
Yeah. So I'm gonna have to share like the Spotify link instead of the Anchor link for when I post the article on Twitter.
It's ridiculous, man. It was. I mean, this is the same thing, right? That they did leading up to the election.
2020.
Yeah, on Facebook, where they had the great Zuckening that we all got nuked. Well,
not me.
I
still have my original from 2009.
Yeah, all the rest of us got nuked.
I'm very careful now. I'm very careful on it now.
Yeah, the rest of us got nuked back then because they were trying to control the media narrative for the election, and this then happens again when they, leading up to the midterms and during this whole bullshit with the gun control. They're now getting rid of everybody who's vocally opposing the major narrative because, as Elon Musk said, and he was completely correct, social media is the de facto public square. And so if you can ban all of the dissenting voices from the public square, you can isolate people who are starting to question the narrative, feel like they're alone, like they're the only ones. You can make sure that any information that is contrary to what your propaganda is doesn't get out there and doesn't get seen. That's the whole point of this. This had nothing to do with us actually violating anything. It had everything to do with them wanting to control the narrative. They just didn't like what we were saying.
And so anybody that's listening, come and find us over on MeWe. We actually have a dedicated page over there that hasn't been yeeted yet.
But yeah, we got our pages over there. We got a dedicated page for the podcast. My Inked Anarchist Hootenanny Roundup 2 is still up there. All of that stuff is still up on MeWe. I'm still on Getter inexplicably. I re-downloaded the app and went into my account, and it's so full of spam, it's ridiculous. But Getter still exists. I'm still on there.
We're all on Telegram.
Yep, we're all on Telegram.
Find us on Telegram.
Coincidentally, there is also I have a Wolf in a Sheep's World is on Telegram also.
Yep.
That was my Facebook page for longtime listeners.
We should probably do a page, like a Telegram thing for a channel for the channel.
That's a good idea.
It's not a bad idea, but the only people that are going to join it are fellow autists.
No. So, speaking of that, I was looking up this article while Andrew was talking. It took me a minute to find it. We're talking about kicking people off of Facebook and how they were controlling the narrative. Megan Smith, who became the U.S. Chief Technology Officer after stints at Apple and Google, she spoke at the Social Innovation Summit in Washington, D.C. recently and said that Facebook destroyed democracy.
I mean, that's not... It's not like the United States was a democracy to begin with, but as far as the idea of an open forum that people are able to communicate with and a free exchange of ideas and all of that stuff, for sure, yeah, they killed it. In one fell swoop in 2020, they killed even the pretense that you could say what you wanted in this country and that there was a free exchange of ideas and the dissenting ideas could exist. I mean, that's the thing, is the spirit of the First Amendment is to protect free speech, and in all its forms. So not just the newspaper, not just the press, not just people saying things, but I mean, really, the idea behind the First Amendment is people should be free to freely exchange ideas in whatever public forum they choose to do so. And you can argue all day, but they're private companies, bro, except they're fucking not, are they?
Yeah.
No, they're actively colluding with the government to make sure that only the approved narrative gets out there.
Yeah, they're just an extension of government. They're a de facto public forum. This is the equivalent.
Yeah, it's like
all dissenting voices out of a square.
It's the same idea with Walmart. Like Walmart is really well known for coming into an area, lobbying the city or the county councils, and increasing the taxes. Like that's the thing. Walmart will come in and increase the taxes on business in that area, while getting a huge tax break for coming to that area. And essentially what they're trying to do is they're trying to kill small business, trying to kill their competitors.
Yep.
Walmart.
There's a documentary that's been out for a long time called Walmart, The High Cost of Low Price. That's full of corporate whistleblowers from Walmart talking about how before they'd come into a town, they'd drive around and they'd point at businesses and be like 6 months, 2 months, 12 months, and like count how many they were going to kill in the next year and a half as like a matter of course. Like, and they keep track and see how close they were, and they'd have betting pools and shit.
Betting pools on how long each one will last, which is just
disgusting.
Good word.
There's a lot of words that I can't say, and
I mean, and think of the kind of control that these tech giants are wielding, right? Like, in one fell swoop, everybody who was super pro-gun on Twitter disappeared. That vote in that space was gone at a single button tap.
They did the
Yeah,
They Thanos.
We all got Thanos out of there.
Yeah, and I mean, imagine if they did, if people did that in other spaces, and there's no reason they can't. Look at Magnus talking about how he can't even order food because he's been so digitally unpersoned over his vocal stances that they will wield all of the power that they possibly can to keep you from being able to question the narrative and everything else. Like, they are taking away your connection to the rest of the world by doing these things.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's we don't want to force you to comply. We want you to want to comply.
Yeah.
All right. We talked about that. We talked about that a few times now, and it's they want to use the power of society, the power of peer pressure, the power of the herd mentality. They want to use that to control you into complacency. Right? Like, you see that with what's the like calling people like the I can't think right now. The pitch terms, right? Racist, sexist, homophobic, you know, when it comes to control, you got a small penis, you know, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. They use these easy, catchy, terms that people can grab onto in lieu of an actual argument or an actual discussion, and just throw those out there and try to shame people. And they shame people into complacency.
I just think the left is absolutely obsessed with the size of conservatives' penises, but that's just me.
They want to ban guns because they're phallically shaped and they don't want to end up in each other's mouths.
Yep.
Yeah. Although
to be fair, I wouldn't mind it if a few of them ended up with it.
Brandenburg v. Ohio, 1969.
We're not saying anybody should. We're just saying that we wouldn't cry.
No, exactly. I'm not saying they should.
But, you know, that's the thing, though, is like that meme that I like so much. That's the NPC, the smug NPC, where it's like, oh, you have guns? Ha, now I'm thinking about your penis. Checkmate. Oh, no. I mean, if you want to see it, all you got to do is ask. It's not very impressive, but, you know.
You know, at that parade today, I will say it was kind of interesting because the Republican Party and all of their candidates were all walking the parade route. Mm-hmm. All they had for the Democrats was a float with a giant ass fucking donkey cutout on it and banners. There was nobody walking.
Yeah, because walking would require effort and connecting with people, and they don't care about people. They want to talk to people.
Right. They didn't even have, like, none of the candidates were even driving the truck. It was just some rando in the truck with the float. It was hilarious.
We'll give you $5 to drive this for a couple miles.
Well, the Democrats were all in the back.
5 miles an hour.
Well, the Democrats were all in the back of the U-Haul in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho.
Yeah, they're all busy. The video of that, by the way, where the door opens and they're all standing there like raccoons that have been discovered in a shed, is one of the funniest things I've ever seen. I like
the video where the person's talking to the cop and the cop goes, "Oh, we had people in their chat." No shit. We know that.
You are the people in their chat. Their entire chat is cops.
They all look like they were feds, all wearing the same shit.
Yeah, I mean, it's like standard issue.
The fact that when they were on their knees and they were all handcuffed. First off, that they had enough handcuffs for everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, how coincidental.
Yeah. But they had them all on these, and they still had their masks on.
Yep.
Yeah. Nobody pulled their masks off.
That would have been the first thing if it was like an actual real thing, is they would have pulled everybody's masks.
Yep.
You know,
masks and sunglasses would have come off of everybody, and in this case, none of them did.
Exactly.
You see, there's another meme floating around, and it said, FBI, at least change your uniforms, and it's them with the blue shirt and the khaki pants.
Shorts. Yep.
Right. Yeah. That's what the FBI wears.
Well, it's just like the glowies at that big rally or that supposed big rally in DC. They all
where you could see the Rugers in their pocket.
Right.
Yeah, and like the badges in their back pockets when they turn, and like you could tell they're all cops. Like,
Right.
Yep.
Well,
Oh,
they've all got the same haircut, the same look. It's like that.
Same
Really?
polos,
Are you even fucking trying?
same exact branded pants, probably.
well, and if you look at them, like they're all built like cops. Every single one of them
Yep.
is built like cops. Like there's no extra chunky guys. There's no like tattoos anywhere. There's none of that. Every single one of them looks like a white upper middle class cop.
ex college baseball player, ex college football player.
Yep. Every single one of them, without exception.
Or former desk jockey in the army.
Yeah,
Thank me for my service.
There's no variation whatsoever. They're so cookie cutter, and it's not because they're like these racist. I'm sure they're racist, but the reality is it's because they're all cops. It's all a big psyop. They're pretending to be these guys to try and run up the idea that these racists are everywhere. White supremacy is a big problem, and
it's Glowy Fest 2022. I mean,
well, with the Whitmer kidnapping, it was what, like 12 of the 14 that were charged, and like 16 of the 25 that were involved.
Yeah,
it's federal informants.
Over 60% of everybody was in fact a Fed. There's like one autistic guy, and then the rest are Feds.
And none of them know the rest of them are Feds.
They called him Captain Autism.
Great.
Yeah, I know.
They literally called him Captain Autism. Oh, the Feds refiled charges. They're still going after them too. After Adam Fox and whatever his face is. Adam Fox is Captain Autism with the big ears. Yeah.
The guy that picks up XM on his ears?
Yeah.
It's like, that your ears are not supposed to be a parabolic dish. I'm just saying.
Okay. Where do we want to go first?
Straight to hell, where we're all going to end up.
Give me number 1 through 8. 1 through 8.
7.
We can't do 7 because that's the secret article.
Okay, let's go with 5. Or 4. Okay.
Ooh, 5. Ooh, 5. 5. Yes, let's start off by making Jason angry.
Jason or Andrew?
Oh, Jason. And Andrew. And Christopher and probably Josh. And Jack. Jack will definitely be.
Jack.
Yeah. Road that cuts through private Montana land will lead to DC showdown. Straight to the FEMA camp.
Well, we've got to have bypasses.
Yeah, it's oh no, it's worse. It's worse than that. What's worse than you guys think? The Supreme Court took up one new case Monday. So this is like last week. Monday morning, agreeing to hear a roadway dispute between Montana landowners and the federal government. Undergirding the dispute is a 1962 easement that the U.S. Forest Service obtained for Robbins Gulch Road in rural Montana. Larry Stephen Wilkins and Jane Staton now own the land where the 60-foot easement sits, and only had a problem with the government's use of the road in 2006 when the Forest Service put a sign on the road allowing public access through private lands. So before that, it was just a Forest Service easement.
And now it's a public roadway through private land.
In 2006, they opened it to the public, so it's a public roadway now that cuts through private land.
You don't get to just decide that people can come on my land. Fuck you.
Oh, hold on.
Andrew's shirt, this right here, the one behind Josh,
no.
Fuck you. No.
Wilkins and Staton contend that the increased traffic has brought trespassers and theft, as well as people shooting at their houses and hunting on their land and interfering with their use of their property.
If you're hunting on my land without permission and I put a round through the back of your head, that's on you.
That's right.
Brandenburg v. Ohio, 1969.
Oh, no Brandenburg, nothing.
Yes.
Brandenburg fucking nothing.
We've already been deleted on other platforms. Let's just Brandenburg it because we want to stay on YouTube.
If I'm not expecting another person to be in those woods and I'm hunting and I shoot and that round hits you, you were not supposed to be in those woods. That falls on you.
Yes.
Yep, that's your fault, not mine.
Yeah. Okay. Hold on. I wait till the end of this paragraph. Hold on a second. Wilkins and Staten asked the Forest Service to address problems related to the public access to the road in 2017. The agency declined to offer any solutions. In 2018, Wilkins and Staten filed a suit under the Quiet Title Act, which is a special legal proceeding to determine ownership of real property. But the law also has a 12-year statute of limitations, leading the federal judge to dismiss their case.
Oh, you sons of bitches.
Sons of bitches.
After the Ninth Circuit affirmed, Wilkins and Staten petitioned the Supreme Court earlier this year. The case asked the justices if the Quiet Title Act statute of limitations is jurisdictional requirements or a claims process rule. Twice previously in Corporation versus United States and United States versus Motaz, the High Court has held that these limitations are jurisdictional. Wilkins and Staten claim that the issue has created a circuit split in the lower courts because it came from recent attempts to redefine what legal rules should be properly characterized as jurisdictional. Quote, until recently, this court has used the term jurisdiction inconsistently in dicta, resulting in confusion among lower courts. That's according to attorney Jeffrey McCoy with the Pacific Legal Foundation, who I am a huge fan of. The Pacific Legal Foundation, the PLF, they're fantastic people.
Not saying there's a solution, but there's a solution.
Quote, well, it has admittedly
fighting consistently would confuse people.
Yeah. Quote, it has admittedly sometimes mischaracterized claim processing rules or elements of a cause of action as jurisdictional limitations, particularly when that characterization was not central to the case and thus did not require close analysis. Of course, the government claimed that the lower courts made the right call and reflected the decision of the jurisdiction themselves and almost every circuit court.
Well, of course they fucking... Yeah, because they went their way. So, of course, they're like, well, we think it was right. If it hadn't gone their way, they would say, well, we don't think that's right.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so what it comes down to is there was a forest road that cut through this land. And there was an agreement that allowed the Forest Service to use this road to reach other parts of the forest. The Forest Service later opened that road to public use, which, in my opinion, violates their easement agreement.
Yeah, well, yes, because it's an easement. They still own the property, so therefore they still have.
So now the argument is whether the Forest Service has the right to issue that the road be public or not based on their jurisdictional control of the area. The Supreme Court has had mixed reviews of what constitutes a jurisdictional power. But that's the whole point of the case.
You know,
I mean, if I were their attorney, the other thing I would be arguing too is that this doesn't actually fall under the statute of limitations issue because the issue was not raised until recently that that this was becoming a problem. So they made the decision in 2006, but it did not become a problem until now. And the fact that problem was that issue was raised and nothing was done.
That's the other thing.
Central issue.
The easement agreement was in 1962. It wasn't until 2006 that 2006 or 2016.
2006 is when they opened it up for public use.
So
it became
2006
an issue in 2017.
2006 is when they opened the road to public use. 2017 is when they said, "Hey, fuck you." Right? Technically, that's 11 years. So even then, that according to my opinion, would fall within the 12 years.
Right, exactly. The actual, ignore the 62. The actual issue was raised within the past, like for when they originally filed the suit,
that's
was
my
raised
that's my
within
take.
the past 12 years.
That's
and so
absolutely my take
therefore
on
it
it.
should not be an issue of the 12-year statute of limitations
Yeah.
either way.
Well,
And I think that the government is intentionally misapplying a statute of limitations here to 1962, when the reality is that the heart of the issue is not the 1962 easement to the Forest Service. The issue is the Forest Service then opening up a Forest Service only easement to the public, which happened within the 12-year statute.
right.
So, like, at this point, I mean, like, that would be argument one. And I think argument two is also like, and you don't get to just decide unilaterally that this is now open to the public. Like, we signed an agreement, like, we agreed to this easement. This all happened on the condition that it was only
For the Forest Service.
that was going to come on here. And that's it. And that easement was on that condition. You altered the conditions, therefore the easement is revoked, and you don't get to be on it at all.
I'm altering the deal. Pray I don't alter it further.
Alter it further. Yeah.
Right. And that's exactly what's going on here.
Which makes a lot of sense in regards to the power of the twig pigs.
Oh yeah.
They're ridiculous.
It's no different than like a utility easement. You know, say a power company has, because they have 6-foot easement typically from like utility poles.
Yep.
Okay, so that's like opening up their path down somebody's farmland and say, okay, now the public can use our easement for hunting or whatever bullshit like that. It's like, no, because your easement specifically for what you signed it for, which is utilities.
Right. And the easements aren't a transfer of ownership. The ownership still lays with the property owner.
Yeah.
The easement is just, you have the right as the utility company to access this small sliver of my property. Same thing with the Forest Service. You have the right to traverse this roadway.
Right. I've agreed to let you do this.
Yes. But if you're going to violate this agreement by allowing additional unsolicited traffic or unapproved traffic, well, now our agreement is null and void because you violated the terms of our contract.
Well, right. And I mean, this is the equivalent, right, of like, say somebody came to you and they're like, like a friend, and they were like, hey, do you mind if I hunt on this back, like 20 acres of your property? You're like, yeah, sure, it's fine. And then they start running like a hunting service and bringing a bunch of people back there constantly to hunt. And you're like, what the fuck? And they're like, well, you said I could hunt there.
Yeah,
I said you could hunt there. I didn't say all these other fucking people
are running a business.
Yeah, that's not what the agreement was. And even in a free society, the idea of easements would likely happen, right? Like, you would still have contracts where people would be like, hey, look, I have this property over here. My access is over here. I really need an easement through there. Can we come to some sort of an agreement? And then the landowner would go, yeah, I'll give you an easement X amount wide from here to here that you can just traverse this without interference from me. And that would be fine. But then if you suddenly, after you start doing that, like come in and you bulldoze down into the ground and then you pave it and then turn it into a road, then all of a sudden we're going to have problems, because that is not what I agreed to. And that is not okay with me.
Yeah.
Like, that's a major issue. I actually know somebody who owned land who had an issue where what they had done is there were two highways on either side of their property. And like that ran, like they had a county highway on one side and they had a state highway on the other side of the property. And they had fields on the opposing sides of both roads. And then their house and like their main land was in the middle. So they built a paved road from one highway to the other for them to be able to traverse. And it was a private road.
People started using it.
And people started trying to use it, and they wound up in a court fight because the state tried to they had gates on it and everything else, and it turned to a court fight because suddenly one day they saw the highway department trying to rip out their gates. And they're like, what are you doing? And they're like, well, you can't block access to it. It's not a fucking public road. And they wound up in a court fight over it. They did win because it had never been a public road, never intended to be a public road. And it's considered a through driveway, but it was like a narrow win for them. Like, this is ridiculous. It is ridiculous that you have to basically say no one is allowed on my property ever and build a wall in order to be able to actually have your property. Like this is.
But then if you build your wall, they'll come after you. The EPA will, for migrating animals and water and this and that and that and this.
Yeah, some butterfly or some shit.
Yeah, you're interfering with the deer. Fuck you.
I'm interfering with the deer.
Interfering with migratory
fuckers will go around it.
Fish, bees.
I'm protecting the fish by shooting the deer that come to drink their water. Yeah, about that.
Exactly.
Right.
This food
I'm protecting
the fish by shooting the deer that would eat. Yes.
Yeah, I'm protecting the bees.
Protecting the
bees. Sure there's
no, I'm protecting the fish by shooting the deer that would eat the flowers that the fish would eat.
I mean, and remember we did that article a while back on that couple that had the blocked
in Minnesota
culvert that they, the blocked culvert that is not functioning as intended is causing a backup of water. So they cleared out the blockage. After they went to the state and said, "Hey, can we do that?" And the state said, "Yeah, I don't care." So they did it, and then they got attacked for destroying wetland. That's not fucking wetland, motherfuckers. That's a blocked culvert. It's not functioning the way it's supposed to.
There's the other one. The other couple in, I think it was Minnesota, where the county wouldn't plow the road. So they went to plow their own road, and the county's like, "Oh no, you can't do that."
Because their statute of limitation on the county ownership of the road had expired, so it went back to the original landowner.
It was still listed as a county road. Their address is on the county road.
I know. Yeah. It's just funny shit.
It's so stupid. Oh my goodness! And now that we have Andrew angry, we have an update on a previous article.
Oh Lord!
If you guys remember the guy in Alabama that had been arrested for criminal littering for repeatedly placing boxes full of flowers on the grave of his fiance.
Well-made, very well-made boxes for flowers.
He has now been convicted.
Her family are assholes.
Yes.
An Alabama man was convicted of criminal littering in order to pay about $300 for repeatedly placing boxes of flowers on the grave of his fiancée, whose father didn't like the decorations or approve of their relationship. The Opeka Auburn News reported that Winston Winchester Haggins was convicted Thursday in Auburn City Court on a warrant signed by the Reverend Tom Ford, the father of Hannah Ford, who died in a wreck in January 2021, about a month after becoming engaged to Haggins. Evidence showed that Haggins repeatedly placed small planter boxes with flowers on the woman's grave, and her father repeatedly removed them. Under Alabama law, citizens can obtain arrest warrants in municipal courts under certain circumstances. Since May 2021, Ford testified a total of 10 boxes have been placed on the grave, and he either discarded them or sent them back to Haggins. Yeah.
So, you said his name was Reverend Ford?
Yeah, he's a fucking pastor.
Yes. What a piece of shit.
Ford,
piece of shit.
Yeah, Ford said he, quote, certainly did not approve of the relationship between his daughter and Haggins.
That's not for you to fucking decide, you piece of shit.
Which he heard about second or third hand because his daughter didn't tell him about it.
Because she didn't care what his opinion was, and she was a fucking adult.
That's right.
Yes. The cemetery is owned by the city, and municipal prosecutor Justin Clark said regulations prohibit, quote, benches, urns, boxes, shells, toys, or other similar articles on graves. City employee Sari Card said that she told Haggins that Ford didn't want the boxes on the grave and planned legal action. Quote, he said he didn't care, that every time a box is removed, he would just make another one to replace it. While the defense argued that the flower boxes aren't litter, Judge Jim McLaughlin, who convicted Higgins in a non-jury trial, said that the boxes were, quote, a clear case of violation of this deed and a violation of the littering statute.
You know, at this point, if I was him, right, because he's getting protection because the ordinance, it's a satchel of Richards. Yes, he can. Yes. He may forthwith consume a satchel of Richards. But if I were the fiance, what I would do is, because the ordinance says you can't put the boxes, and that's what they're using here. I would immediately go, okay, and figure out a way to get together like 300,000 flowers and just coat the grave in flowers, and then just do that regularly. Just a pile of flowers.
All right, hold on. I got two.
Like,
I got two
box.
paragraphs. I will mute everybody. Look, give me 2 paragraphs. Quote: the box does not occur naturally in nature. It is a foreign substance. Whether it's pretty or not is not a consideration for this court.
So, like Andrew
hold
said,
on. The defense said it would appeal the conviction to the circuit court where a jury can hear the case. Aside from the $50 fine and the $251 in court cost, Higgins also received a 30-day jail sentence that was suspended on the condition that he doesn't place additional flowers on the grave.
okay, I will go down to that grave and I will plant about 1,000 milkweed plants on it. Now move it.
I don't think they're protected in Alabama. I don't think that'll work. Wisconsin, it would work.
Protected plant. Whatever.
Yeah, find a protected plant.
Yep,
No,
find
so
a protected plant.
Doesn't occur in nature. You know what else doesn't? Carved fucking stones don't occur in fucking nature either, but you're good with them. You know what else doesn't occur in nature? A hole lined by concrete with a big metal box containing a corpse, but you're okay with that. Jesus fucking Christ, doesn't occur in nature, you fucking asshole.
Tombstones don't occur in nature either. Giant rocks do.
That's what he was saying. Giant fucking pieces of granite.
Slab of stone that's been carved by human hands also doesn't occur in nature.
Neither does the damn concrete slab that it sits on.
Yeah, the brass panels that surely are on a bunch of them. None of that. You know what else? The fence around it. You know what else doesn't occur in nature in North America? The grass that you have planted on the fucking graveyard, asshat.
Hey, judges don't occur in nature either.
Tell you what, judges could return to nature.
Brandon Verby, Ohio.
If he's so fucking concerned, you know what? Okay, fine.
Hashtag Darwin eating popcorn.
Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go ahead, and the next time somebody that I love dies, I'm going to go into the middle of the woods, and I'm just going to dump their body there. And we're going to let the animals eat it, and then the bones just be scattered about, and we're not going to do anything. And we're just going to go, oh, well, and we're going to move on with our lives. And if that's what you were doing, I can understand the not occurring in nature argument.
That's literally the way I want to go.
But I mean, if you're doing that and that's all you're doing, I can understand your argument that it doesn't occur in nature as a valid argument. But if you have planted a bunch of non-native European grasses, outlined it with a fence, thrown blacktop down for paths, are planting giant hand-carved stones at the head of these specifically dug pits that are then lined with concrete, where you are placing a hand-carved wood or hand-beaten metal casket into with a person who's had their blood replaced by formaldehyde, and you want to complain.
replaced with formaldehyde, shoved into a giant wooden box with brass hinges and shellacked and a nice polished coat, and then placed into the ground.
But the box, the wooden box, doesn't occur in nature.
The wooden box with the flowers
and dirt.
Oh, yeah. There's no way to segue off that.
Good Lord.
All right. New York banned body armor for civilian hands. But not the kind
getting shot, so let's
but not the kind used by the Buffalo shooter.
Yep, but not hard body armor, only soft body armor. You know, the kind that cops use.
the kind that a cop's sidearm will actually affect the person wearing.
Yep.
I mean, not saying that, you know, steel armor is like impenetrable and will have no lasting effect from a 9mm. You still get the force, you still feel it, but not the same that you would feel it if you were wearing, I don't know, soft armor.
Yeah, if you decide to wear just 5 layers of woven Kevlar, That's banned in New York State.
Yes.
But if you go out and you buy AR-500 or
500.
ceramic plates,
yeah, or polyethylene, yeah.
and
Well, the funniest part is that the plates aren't banned, the carrier is.
Okay. All right. January 6th, New York, New York Governor Kathy Hochul,
Hochul.
Hochul. Hochul signed into law a package of gun
Another
reforms.
example, just like Kamala Harris, of failing upwards.
Yes. Including expanding the state's red. It's funny because Cuomo got removed for the same things that caused Harris to get promoted.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Anyway, Hochul signed into law a package of gun reforms that include expanding the state's red flag laws, raising the legal age to buy semi-automatic rifles, and requiring a license, and banning the sale of body armor to civilians. The legislation came 3 weeks after a teenager wearing body armor killed 10 people at a Buffalo supermarket. The body
But not
armor,
the fucking body armor you banned, you dumb shits.
the body armor deflected a security guard's bullets and allowed the gunman to continue his rampage. But the new law doesn't prohibit the type of body armor worn by the gunman.
I love that deflected the bullets. That ain't how body armor works either.
Yeah.
That's not what happens.
It was the
Hollywood.
force.
It was a Hollywood bullet, right? It made the cool sound. Pating!
Mm-hmm.
I've actually heard bullets ricochet and make the weird sound. It's really neat when it happens.
Yeah. Too close.
We call
too
those
close,
mosquitoes.
Too close for comfort.
Yeah, that means it's real fucking close.
Yeah, but the new law doesn't prohibit the type of body armor worn by the gunman. Hochul's office confirmed to the Trace the words, quote, body armor don't even appear anywhere in the bill, even though it's being described as a, quote, body armor banned by Hochul and the state lawmakers in the news release. According to law enforcement, the 18-year-old gunman wore what is known as a plate carrier, which is a vest often made of ordinary fabric that holds hard armor plates designed to protect against rifle rounds. The legislation signed by Hochul bans the purchase of body vests, which are defined by state law as, quote, a bullet-resistant soft body armor. Soft armor is flexible, more concealable, and designed to stop small caliber rounds.
Body vests, yeah, the armor of choice of Ed Gein.
So it sounds like they effectively banned the weakest form and probably the best form, the frass armor that we've looked at before. Because that's soft body armor that stops rifle rounds technically. So they banned the two ends of the spectrum, but not in the middle.
Yeah.
Well, and as part of it, it sounds like they also got plate carriers, which at the same, my backpack that I use for a diaper bag is also a plate carrier.
Yeah, you can also get like jackets that will hold plates.
Yep.
Not a plate carrier; it's a jacket.
It's a
jacket. See that backpack I posted in the group chat that pulls out the front over the.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Cool. They call it like the switchblade or something.
Yeah, I mean,
it's a backpack.
Yeah. Yeah. So they banned a very specific thing, and then shit that no one cares about anyway, and went, yay, we win.
We did something.
More or less. They played pigeon chess, essentially.
We earned your vote.
They played pigeon chess with it.
Yeah.
Well, at least we're doing something. No,
flew off. Started around.
Yeah, this is do somethingism. That's what this is. Like when we talk about do somethingism, that's what this is. It's just doing an action, regardless of how stupid and illogical and nonsensical it is, doing an action and then going, well, at least we're doing something. But that something doesn't make any sense. Yeah, this is the equivalent of like somebody's drowning, so you go get a pizza and throw it to them. And when people are like, well, that didn't help, you're like, well, at least I did something. No, that wasn't helpful at all.
Nothing productive.
Yeah, that didn't help anything.
Not to mention the half hour turnaround time on the pizza. I mean, they're screwed by the time you get back. And why would you waste perfectly good pizza?
Because they're doing something.
Yeah, because at least they're doing something. Well, what did you do? You're not doing anything. Do you have a better solution?
Brandon Ducci, Q Simpsons, I'm helping meme.
Yeah. I'm helping.
Meanwhile, everybody else, I'm in danger.
Yeah. I'm in danger. Me feel English? That's impossible.
God damn it.
I'm still trying to find the definition of body vest in this bill.
Well, and
it probably doesn't define it.
What I find really interesting is it seems like there's a race between California and New York State to see who can fuck everybody over the fastest.
Oh, New York will win. Like, straight up, New York will win. It's been doing it longer.
Yes.
That's fair. By about 70 years.
Yeah, New York's been doing it a lot longer.
Yeah, I can't find the definition of this, but it's body vests are defined by state law as quote bullet-resistant soft body armor. So I don't know if that would actually count as a plate carrier because it's not bullet resistant.
Well, as long as the plate carrier isn't one of those Kevlar ones, because they do make plate carriers that themselves with no plates are still like level 2.
Yeah, and there's some that like they have a built-in trauma pad. Like, would that be considered as bullet resistant?
I mean, the trauma pads are just foam, so hopefully nobody's that stupid. But
Honcho's office confirmed that the ban does not expressly cover hard body armor, and sent us a statement saying that quote she would fully support additional measures to strengthen the laws further if passed by the legislature.
Because of course she would.
Assembly member Sarah Clark, an upstate lawmaker, also conceded that the law doesn't cover hard plates. She explained that's because plate carriers can be made of bulletproof materials. The law would, by extension, quote, capture scenarios like the one we saw with the Buffalo gunman. However, many plate carriers are made of materials like nylon and would not be banned. Quote, I think we will have to wait for final regulations to come out to see if this is truly implemented. The law is so confusing that not even its chief sponsor seemed to understand the gap in the measure. Assemblyman Jonathan Jacobson told the Chase he believed it covered hard armor. Quote, that's my understanding, Jacobson said, that if there's a body armor ban, quote, is somehow interpreted to exclude hard armor. We're coming back in January, so we'll amend it.
Oh, you mean we don't have any idea how things work at all?
Hey guys, apparently we have a spam bot in the chat that says we need to end our stream right now. Hey, Barry Suss, why don't you look right here?
What?
Clock you no. And I like Dave's idea. Fill a backpack with
Nokia phones. Yeah, fucking Nokia phones, man. Like, you cannot possibly hope to get through that. Like, they can withstand a nuclear blast, I'm fairly sure.
If there had been one present at Hiroshima and Nagasaki, it would have survived with the cockroaches. I'm certain of it.
Yes.
Yeah, people still be like, oh, and then dialing on it instead. Like, oh man, there's no service. Well, at least I can play Snake.
All right,
that's right.
All right. Goodie bag to promote U.S. industries contained made in China gifts. A swag bag dished out by the American Chamber of Commerce to promote U.S. industry at an international summit. It wasn't quite on message. With some gifts blaring the slogan "Made in China." Delegates and attendees at the Summit of the Americas in Los Angeles this week had been plied with all of the manual of freebies and samples from various groups wanting to push their agenda. A sideline gathering dubbed the, quote, CEO Summit has seen the leaders of industry and politics talk about how business can help boost development of impoverished countries in Central and South America. Attendees have included Google boss Sundar Pichai, U.S. President Joe Biden, and Meta member Nick Clegg have been to avail themselves of a blue bag of goodies provided by the host of the American Chamber of Commerce.
I guess made in China, as all good American products are.
Is it right?
But a closer inspection reveals that its contents are not exactly born in the USA. An insulated metal drinking bottle in the bag is stamped with a capitalized China on the bottom, denoting its origins.
That is freaking... You literally could have gotten a Yeti, right? You could have gotten a Yeti.
Yes.
But instead...
even if you went with Arctic.
Did you...
Arctic.
Speaking of
Arctic is good too.
Knock off instead.
Speaking of Yeti, did you see the article about there was a ship ship had a container full of Yeti coolers on it, and the container went overboard. And on the southeast coast of Alaska, there's been Yetis washing up. People are getting free Yetis.
Hell yeah!
$300 coolers. Yay!
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, dude, that's...
Oh, it's hilarious.
That's fucking... Are you kidding me? If I'm, like, walking along the beach and, like, man, I better, make sure I'm keeping an eye out for bears. And then, like, I just see, like, 8 fucking Yetis. I'm like, Roy, get the truck! I get back down here right now.
We got Yetis. And they're thinking you're talking about, an abominable snowman or something. No,
yeah,
cooler.
Also, yeah, no, there's cool. Yeah, I saw a Yeti in them woods. There's a 45 quart.
You see that Yeti over there, and people are freaking out, grabbing their guns.
But I mean, like, that's though. If I'm Yeti, I'm pointing to that and going, "Talk about durability, man! These fuckers went into the ocean and they exploded."
It's like Liberty safes pointing to the safe after a fire.
Yeah,
look what our products survived, motherfuckers.
Yeah, like all the way to Alaska, and people were fully able to just pick them up and still use
Jack.
them. He's living the Hamlet. Sign of global warming.
Yeah, Jack says Yetis live in the Himalayas to wash up on the shores as a sign of global warming. Oh, that's hilarious.
Won't somebody think of the Yetis?
Abominable lives matter.
Oh man, we really need a t-shirt company already. Like, we need to start producing merch because.
All right, I got. Let's get one more article in, and then we'll get into that gun control stuff. So this is the article I did not tell you guys about. Everyone wants credit for the booming tax revenue. This is a Yahoo Finance article. Remember that headline? Everyone wants credit for the booming tax revenue. You know everything that's going wrong. Inflation is too high. Crime is too widespread. Russia is a barbaric menace. But at least one thing is going right. Federal tax revenue is soaring, providing at least a temporary respite to the unusual financial gloom. Total federal tax receipts for 2022 are up 39% from the same period in 2021, according to the Treasury Department.
It's the fucking only thing financially that's up 39%.
Oh no, the price of gas is up 50%.
Oh, yeah.
Revenue from individual income taxes, the biggest source, is up 69%.
Nice.
Not nice. No, not nice.
It's just indicative of how badly we're getting fucked. I mean,
yeah, the fact that it's up 69%. So you really know.
Hold on. Revenue from business taxes is up 22%. Total tax revenue this year could amount to 19.6% of the GDP, which would be the most since the dot-com mania of 2000 swelled government coffers.
19, but nearly a quarter of the GDP into
about
the
a fifth.
pockets.
1/5.
A fifth of GDP into the coffers of Washington.
Yes.
Oh my God. Like, think about that. Effectively means, right? That effectively means that all of the United States is working for like 2 months to do nothing but pay the government.
I think here in the state of California, Tax Freedom Day was like May 18th. So every hour worked from January 1 to May 18
just to pay
went to the government. Well, that's how much you would pay in taxes.
Yeah.
So like four and a half months. Yeah.
I think in Wisconsin, Tax Freedom Day is like April 20th or something like that.
420. Tax Freedom Day 2022. I don't know.
We need a guy like Joe Rogan has, where all he does is like research, get yelled at occasionally.
Right.
But then we wouldn't be the most professional podcast on the internet.
Yeah, April 16th. April 16th.
April 16th.
Yeah, I was fucking close.
Yeah.
Yes, Americans will pay around $3.4 trillion in federal taxes and $1.8 trillion in state and local taxes. So,
I mean, think about how insane that is.
Yes, that's literally a third. Literally a third of the year.
Yep. Every hour that you worked for that first third of the year, if you threw every dollar of that into your tax bill for the year, after that, you would owe nothing.
But don't worry, it's not like feudalism, because in feudalism they had to spend the first like 2 months of the year giving everything that that they made or that they grew to their landlords, and then they got to keep it. So at least we're not as bad off as that, right?
Biden, for his part, is the beneficiary of lucky timing. He came into the office as a massive stimulus programs produced a record $3.1 trillion in 2020.
I would like to point out that you remember the American Revolution was about taxes. 3%.
No, like 0.3%.
Yeah, I suppose once you calculate it out, yeah.
Yeah, once you calculate it out, 0.3%, and now it's 19 fucking percent.
Yep. Let's see. 2020, 3.1. That was because so this is the deficit in 2020. So this is how much they spent over what they budgeted. 3.1 trillion in 2020. It was only slightly smaller, 2.8 trillion during Biden's first year in office. Let's see.
Don't you remember Biden was touting, we dropped the deficit by something. It's like,
they did drop the deficit.
They did, but that doesn't mean that they had a balanced fucking
budget. It was
budget.
still 2.8 trillion.
Right.
Trillion with a T.
Yeah, 2022, that's this fiscal year, they will still run $1 trillion deficit. At least a $1 trillion deficit.
While taking in record revenue.
Yeah.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
While taking in 19.6% of the GDP in revenue. Oh. And what are they doing with all that money, you guys?
They're sending weapons to Ukraine.
Bipartisan gun deal announced. No assault weapons ban. No raised minimum rifle age. So this is the Senate bill that they've agreed to. They haven't voted on it or nothing. This has nothing to do with the House bill. That is just it's newsworthy. I said noose-worthy, not newsworthy, just for clarification on the House bill. But this is the Senate bill. A bipartisan group of senators announced a deal on gun control legislation Sunday in the wake of recent mass shootings, though the compromise excludes President Joe Biden's assault weapons ban and a raised minimum age for rifle purchases. The deal includes Republican priorities such as expanded mental health services and school safety. It nods to Democratic priorities by adding expanded background checks for those under the age of 21 who will now have their juvenile records screened before gun purchases. Press release from the bipartisan group outlines the contours of the proposed legislation. Okay, so this is
so it sounds like they're also now this was just something I had heard. I don't know if this is actually part of it or not, but they had talked about including your academic records as a minor.
That's all the house stuff.
That's the house stuff. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the idea, juvenile records are supposed to be sealed. Any
because
crime
they're juvenile, right?
that you committed, before
Yes.
you're 18, is supposed to be sealed.
Mm-hmm.
Unless
And,
you were charged as an adult.
Yeah, and even employers don't even get to see that with a background check.
Okay,
And
so
yet-
I'm gonna skip all the fluffy language and all the other bullshit, and we're just gonna get into the bullet points. Bullet point number 1 is
I see what you did there.
Yes, intervention orders, red flags. Provides resources to states and tribes to create and administer laws that help ensure deadly weapons are kept out of the hands of individuals whom a court has determined to be a significant danger to themselves or others, consistent with the state and federal due process and constitutional protections. Red flags do not take in due process or constitutional protections because they happen before you are convicted of anything.
Yep. You're not convicted.
And they happen
of
without
anything.
any kind of input from you.
Yes,
you don't get to defend yourself. Nothing else.
Yes, it is called an intervention.
So
order.
this is a bribe to convince people to disregard your 4th and 5th Amendment rights.
Yes.
2nd, 4th, 5th, 6th.
Yep.
Yes.
Hell,
It's
I
a
would
bribe.
And 8th. You can make an argument for the 8th also being a cruel, unusual punishment.
Well, and first,
Yeah.
because oftentimes these, the abuse of the red flag laws comes from people exercising their First Amendment right
Yep.
to tell people to get fucked.
Hashtag Duncan Limp.
Right.
Yep.
So we know that will have no effect on bad guys getting guns illegally.
Right.
Okay. Investment in children and family mental health services. National expansion of community behavioral health centers model. Major investments to increase access to mental health and suicide prevention programs and other support services available to the community, including crisis and trauma intervention and recovery. Okay, this is something they don't talk about when they talk about gun control. They talk about gun deaths. About 2/3 of gun deaths are suicides, but those get lumped in. Those get lumped in as acts of gun violence because a firearm was used. In addition to the 2/3 being suicides, about another 10 or 15% are defensive gun use. Right? So that's firearms that are used, but they get counted as gun violence because a firearm was used. Additionally, another 0.5 to 1% of that is accidental discharges. Right? People are dumb. Shit happens.
Yep.
Right? So you're looking at like 65-70% of all quote gun deaths or gun violence are not criminal acts.
And of those that are criminal acts, I know the assault weapons ban wasn't included in the deal, but less than 1% of those are committed with what they consider to be an assault weapon.
Well, yeah, ARs or semi-automatic rifles account for less than 500 deaths a year.
Yes.
Of the 33,000 that they're counting as gun violence.
I think it's 36 is what they average out to be.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah.
So, but also the expansion of community behavioral health center model. I can't say this is a bad idea. It depends on what they do with it. Like here in California, if you seek mental health, and they have a duty to report. So if you go see a psychiatrist, hey, I'm depressed. You use the D word, you use the S word, suicide. You say you want to harm yourself, or you get angry and you want to harm other people, something like that. They have a duty to report that, and you go on the list, and your NICS will get kicked back.
Yep.
Automatically.
Yeah,
No
if
due
you,
process,
if,
no nothing.
I mean, one of the questions, right, on a 4473 is if you've ever been hospitalized for mental health.
Oh.
If you say yes, You don't get to own that
automatic kickback. Yeah.
Yep.
So.
And that's separate from the have you ever been adjudicated as mentally defective?
Yeah. So I mean, so yeah, the expansion of mental health, it can prevent a suicide. I'm okay with that. But on the flip side, if there is a duty to report, it's going to stop people from seeking mental health. Mental health.
Look at even regular health. How many doctors now are asking, are there guns in your home?
Yes.
Yes. What fucking business is that of yours? I'm here because I have a
cold. What does that have to do with anything?
Yeah.
Yeah. The third
I got
bullet
COVIDs.
Third bullet point is protection for victims of domestic violence. Convicted domestic violence abusers and individuals subject to domestic violence restraining orders are included in NICS, including those who have or have had a continuing relationship of a romantic or intimate nature.
This is already a thing.
This is already a thing.
And there's a lot of states where conviction of domestic violence is not something that will kick back. I think Texas is one of them. I know here in California, if you're convicted of domestic violence, it'll kick your NICS back. So now federally is where they would go with that.
Well, not only that, but remember that.
But that's still dependent on states reporting.
Yeah, well, and the Johnny Depp and Amber Heard trial has demonstrated the bullshit behind that, because remember, Amber Heard made shit up, blamed Johnny Depp, and got a protection order.
Yep.
All she had to do was say, "Oh, he threatened me, he abused me." That's it.
Mm-hmm.
That's all she had to do in order to get that. That just like the red flag law, where all a jilted ex at this point, if this law passes,
an angry ex,
a jilted ex can
right.
just say.
Yeah, an angry ex-wife, angry baby mama. Yep. I believe in Florida that was one of the cases. Angry baby mama said that the dad had hit her or hit the kids or something like that, and they red flagged him and ended up shooting him. I think he survived. But
but you're not just talking about those. You're talking about if, let's say, I had a negative interaction with a coworker.
Mm-hmm.
You could have a coworker go in and say, "Hey, this guy's a risk."
Well, and don't even just
like when Andrew was removed from Foxconn, right? They were scared shitless. Yeah. They had security escort you out and everything. Like all they had to do was say one word, and you would have got.
Well, it was CenturyLink, but after I got fired, all I did was I bitched about it on Facebook, and they decided that meant I was a threat, and they posted a fucking cop in the doorway, which was absolutely ridiculous. Yeah. And asked my girlfriend, like, "Do you feel safe at home?" Because she worked there, and she's like, "What? Yeah, you fucking like you people are nuts." But
I feel less safe if you take his guns.
Yeah, exactly. And so, that all that would have taken, or let's say it is an actual, let's say it's an actually abusive ex-boyfriend decides he's going to claim, because there's no evidence that he was abusive, he's going to claim that his ex-girlfriend is a threat to herself and that she's abusive. She loses her guns, and now he can show up and attack her, and she's fucking defenseless.
Yep. We know with Gonzalez v. Castle Rock, that a restraining order is just piece of paper, and it was ruled in that case that police have no duty or obligation to protect people.
We know somebody whose crazy ex had her brother break into his house, and he had to shoot him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was a homie down in Texas. I'm not going to say his name on the radio on the live, but they had a split. She was not happy about it, and she convinced her brother to break into the home, and our homie had to put one in his leg. And he did not enjoy that. He was not okay with that for a while.
Yeah.
So.
But I mean, think about all that would have needed to happen is she could have just claimed that he was a danger or that he had hit her.
No.
And at that point, he loses his guns, and her brother can break in with the knife that he had and attack him.
Yep. Her brother had criminal convictions on him. Dave, the homie Papa Patches, says here in Nebraska, domestic violence refers to anyone who's familiar with, as far as I understand. That's coworkers, family, friends, neighbors. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
So you could get in an argument, right, with let's say you're a 20-year-old woman and you live alone, and you get into an argument with your mother
Yep.
And over maybe maybe you recently broke up with your boyfriend, right? Because your boyfriend was abusive, so you dumped him, you kicked him out, you get an argument with your mother about it, and then she decides, oh, you attacked me because she's so mad, to teach you a lesson. Well, now it's a domestic violence conviction.
Yep.
Or a protection order, and now at this point you can't have any guns, and now your crazy ex shows up and kills you.
Yep.
Because you couldn't defend yourself because the state took your guns away.
Yeah. And again, these are done without conviction, right? And many times without charges.
Yeah. Yeah, they can
charges
take,
don't
in
need
a lot-
to exist for
in
protection
most
order.
of these
All that
cases,
money on attorneys trying to fight to get your shit back.
Yes.
Yes.
Let's see. Funding for school-based mental health and supportive services. I don't want schools to do that. No. In my opinion. It says,
are you kidding me? The schools are the ones hosting the drag queen story hours for kindergartners. Like, no, I don't want schools in charge of mental health. Thanks.
What's next? Fucking furry psychologist for my kids.
New
at
York.
school?
The state of New York spent $200,000 on that, by the way. Funding for school-based mental health and supportive services. Invest in programs to expand mental health and supportive services in schools, including early identification and intervention programs and school-based mental health and wraparound services. I don't like the sound of that at all.
Yeah, that sounds like hey, are there guns in your home? Oh no, you're in danger.
Yep.
Time to red flag your parents.
No. Here, take this pill. You seem depressed. Oh, now, oh, you having side effects? Here, take this other pill. Oh, no, we have to take away your SSRIs now. Here's a gun.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
Yeah, that's never happened. James Holmes. Aurora, Colorado. Yeah. Let's see. Yeah, there are. Jack says there are literally school psychologists like that. Yeah,
I know.
Yeah. I'm so happy that my kids are already out of school.
I am painfully aware of this.
I
am fairly certain that one of the ones at my oldest school, is in fact a furry on the weekends.
Oh, what you need that big old gun for? Hunting coyotes, foxes, rabbits, wolves. Wow, that's a lot of animals. Yeah.
I'm lining outside the convention just waiting to see them. I agree with Pete Kionis on this one. It's male kindergarten teachers are just weird. That should not be a thing.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is that I was told by a psychologist once that most psychologists go into psychology to figure out what's wrong with themselves because they have something very deeply wrong with themselves. Every time I mention,
funny, both my brother and my future son-in-law have psychology degrees.
But and every time I mention that to a psychologist, they go, "Yep, sounds about right." And you want these people to be telling your children trying to make them feel better?
It's okay for you to transition.
No,
yeah, they're
not even that. Like even if we got away from the transitioning stuff, away from the transgender stuff, just with the inclusive nature, like your son is depressed. He's having trouble at home, right? He's trying to figure some things out, hormones, blah, 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 blah. And the school counselor's going, oh, you can't use that language, Jimmy. Oh, you can't do that, Jimmy. That's toxic.
Well, of course they're having problems at home.
Congratulations, you're fucking kids up more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, if the kid expresses themselves in any kind of dramatic nature, right? Like, let's say they're in art class, they're depressed, they're frustrated, they're being bullied, whatever, and they do something that, they make some sort of art piece that people decide is scary.
Yeah.
That's putting them at risk. That's putting their parents at risk, is having their guns removed under this bill now.
I graduated high school.
Scary.
I graduated high school in 1998. In 1996, 10th grade English, Miss Holmes, she had us write a short story, and I based mine on The Telltale Heart. And it was a little dark. Admittedly. And she made me meet with her after class, 3 straight days. And she made me talk to her about what I wrote, because disturbed her, and she was worried about my home life, and that was 24 years ago.
Yeah, and just imagine how much different that is now. How much worse it is now.
My sophomore year,
26 years. Holy fuck!
Yeah, you're old. We all know.
Oh, I'm gonna mute and cry for a second.
When I was a sophomore in high school, I got talked to by the local police because I wrote a rap song with a friend of mine. Right, this is the era of gangster rap. Like it's still big. Everybody's into gangster rap, right?
Where were you living? Where were you living?
Cassville.
No, hell no. My mom didn't move to Cassville until I was like in my 30s.
Okay.
No, I was living at the time. I was living in rural Wisconsin, extremely rural Wisconsin. I know. All right, you can laugh all you want. A pair of white dudes from extremely rural Wisconsin writing a rap song. Okay, I didn't say it was good.
Oh, I just have
Amish.
I have Amish paradise.
Yeah.
Amish paradise.
Yeah. Okay. All right. And there were a lot of Amish around, so that seems appropriate. But
Eminem, eh?
Yeah, it's okay.
That was the other thing that popped into my head was like these guys are being fake Slim Shadys.
Yeah. We called it "Pass the Ranch Now, bitch." No.
My cheese got holes in it.
Yeah.
Ooh, that
Glock 17, from my Glock 17.
I'm just saying it wasn't good, okay? But it was just like a gangster rap song. And on reflection, yes, lame as hell. But at the time, we thought we were cool. And I got talked to by the local police about it because at the time we had a GeoCities that we were putting our music on.
Oh, God, GeoCities.
We were that level of lame, and it was that time, all right? It was a different time in my life. I don't want to... I'm not proud of it. It existed. And
God.
It probably still exists.
It probably is still there, to be honest with you. But because somebody else
MC White Sturgeon.
Yeah. Hey, man, I rule the corn stalks. But because somebody else in the school saw it, and it was talking about like guns and shooting people and stuff, I wind up getting talked to the police, and like I remember through the whole thing going, it's a rap song, right? Like you understand it's a work of fiction. It's a work of fiction. It's a rap song. Like, no, I don't live in inner city Chicago. Obviously, neither do you. So I'm not sure how you're thinking that this has any bearing on reality. I'm very confused. That was actually like the first time I ever had an interaction with police, and that was when they failed to also have my mom come with me for questioning or offer it, which is when my lawyer was like, "Oh, you guys are super," because I was like, 15 at the time.
Yeah, Brandon, he says, I was banned from picking my child up after school program because I was seeing red when they told my child who has asthma to participate in the class while wearing masks during PE. Yeah, that's common. That's absolutely common. And under these laws, that would be enough for a red flag.
Yeah.
Yeah. Schools are not the place you want mental health to be running out of.
No.
That is a bad idea.
Side note, you'll be happy to know that your GeoCities with your rural Wisconsin gangster rap has been shut down since 2009.
Really? 2009?
That's
my
sad.
God.
I'm really upset about that.
It lasted until 2009. Because I went looking for it. It lasted until 2009.
No.
Oh my
All right.
God.
Funding for school safety resources. Invest in programs to help institute safety measures in and around primary and secondary schools, support school violence prevention efforts, and provide training to school personnel and students.
In other words, they're going to teach them to, throw your textbook at the guy that came through the door with a fucking gun.
Teach them to fear.
Look at their photos of their active shooter drills in schools.
Fucking like Caltech with the Caltech.
The Caltech sub 2000. You got the lens caps closed on the optics.
I know.
You got people doing this with their guns. Like this is how they're holding them. I mean, like these people are not John Wick. All right, and like. And you're going to increase. These are the people, though. Those people are the people who are going to train people.
Well, not only that, but they're gonna. and additional safety measures, right? One way in, one way out, cameras. An additional also, what does it say? Monitoring. Let's see. Help institute safety measures in and around primary and secondary schools, support school violence prevention efforts, and provide training to school personnel and students. So, violence prevention efforts, right? They're talking about monitoring social media. That's a big one. Also, all, like everything that the kid draws and writes about, that's all going to go into a big file. The file is going to be periodically checked, or it's going to be word farmed, looking for specific.
Yep, it's all going to be digitized and
because
smart netted and
because this is being done in schools, right? This is also then making sure that the kids get institutionalized, because they're basically talking about turning schools into prisons. One way in, one way out, controlled access everywhere, cameras everywhere. They're turning schools even more into prisons than they already are. And so the kids are going to get used to that.
Have more amenities to them than schools do.
Most prisons have more amenities to them than schools do. And so you're going to have that, and they're going to get used to just being monitored all the time and having to ask permission for everything. And then they're also going to get used to constantly
them into the surveillance state.
Yep.
Right. And they're going to get used to this stuff and to absolute compliance. And that's really what this is about. This is a very sneaky way to shove that agenda in, because remember, like Hitler and Goebbels said, right? The way that you conquer a country is by getting a hold of the children.
Yep.
And that's what the point of this is.
Give me the children first, and in a generation I'll control the state or whatever it is, something like that. Yeah. Clarification of definition of federally licensed firearms dealer. Cracks down on criminals who illegally evade licensing requirements. So what this is, it's going to put a stronger definition on what constitutes an FFL. Because as it is now, you can build firearms, and then like personal sales are a thing. So I think this is more of a universal background check thing than anything else.
Well, right. See, so don't forget that in 1986, the whole point of FOPA was it's the Firearms Protection Act. And that the whole point of that initially was that as soon as anybody bought or sold more than 3 guns in a year, the ATF was going after them for not having an FFL. And it was getting absolutely absurd. And the whole point of that law originally was to protect gun owners who were not in the business of buying and selling. They were just collectors. Or they were just, people who changed their mind a lot, whatever. They weren't doing this for business purposes. And it was to protect them from harassment from the ATF. And the Hughes Amendment was thrown in there as a poison pill. That's what shut the NFA registry. Signed into law by Ronald Reagan. This is designed to now leave the Hughes Amendment, the poison pill, in place, but to destroy FOPA.
Yep.
That's what this is. Thanks, Reagan.
Yeah. Here's one for you. Telehealth investments. Invest in programs that increase access to mental and behavioral health services for youth and families in crisis via telehealth. That means via video chat. Which, okay.
Well,
whatever. I mean,
telehealth is a thing, and it's honestly for primary care and whatnot. It's kind of the wave of the future.
Yeah.
There's entire apps that are out there now where you can actually get access to mental health just on your phone.
My entire doctor thing. Like, if I want appointments, if I want to talk to my doctor, if I want to renew prescriptions or anything, it's all online. Like, I don't call anybody anymore.
Which is also, again, something designed to further isolate people and make them feel alone.
Yes.
Not able to relate to those around them.
On the flip side, I don't have to sit in the waiting room for half an hour in order to talk to my doctor for 7.5 minutes.
Yeah, but how many stories a generation ago about, I met my husband at the bank, or I met my best friend in the waiting room and at the dentist's office, and like now none of that exists anymore. That doesn't happen anymore.
Okay, here's one for you. Under 21 enhanced review process for buyers under 21 years of age requires an investigative period to review juvenile and mental health records, including checks with state database and local law enforcement. Checks with state database and local law enforcement.
Yep,
As well as review juvenile and mental health records.
Because right now, as you go through the background check process, once you're over the age of, or because you're over the age of 18, if you're buying a long gun, it only goes through the federal NICS system.
Yes.
So if you, if the state hasn't reported anything felonious or anything like that to the federal NICS system, it doesn't flag anything. So you could buy a firearm even though you've been convicted of a state felony, legally.
Yeah. But again, that's not going to stop anybody that wants to do harm, though. Right? It's not going to keep guns out of the hands of.
There's nothing in this that's really going to do anything to stop any of it.
Right here in La Crosse, just a little while ago, just a couple of weeks ago, right?
Hold that thought.
There was a gunfight on the north side of town, where a 15-year-old and a 16-year-old got into a gunfight with an 18-year-old. Okay. They all had guns. 15-year-old winds up getting a round to the fucking face and dies.
Ouch.
The 18-year-old's been arrested already. He turned himself in. The 16-year-old is still at large. An arrest warrant was just issued today for him. But witnesses straight up said all of them pulled guns.
Yeah.
So if there is no legal way for a 15-year-old to obtain a pistol. So there is no way that this law is going to stop things like that from happening. Clearly, the 16-year-old didn't get the pistol legally. The 15-year-old didn't get the pistol legally.
Hold on. You're getting into the next one,
town, Andrew.
But you're getting into the next point, Rick. Hold on. One correct. Next point. Penalties for straw purchasing.
Oh, for fuck's sake!
That's already illegal.
It's already a fucking thing.
That's already a thing.
It's just making it more illegal.
We're gonna make it illegaler.
If an FFL suspects that there is a straw purchase occurring, they are legally obligated to refuse the sale.
Yep.
Yes.
I've run into that issue when I've gone with female friends to go help them find their first gun and stuff. Where I'm like, well, I mean, I buy this one, this is gonna blah blah blah, and I help them out. And then had to argue with the FFL, like, no, this isn't a straw purchase. This is literally her fucking gun. I'm just here to help, asshat. Like, chill out.
I've done that too. A number of people, like at my place of work, where they've decided, they've been longtime people. They're like, I don't need any guns. I don't want any guns. And then all of a sudden, with the events of the last couple of years, like, I need a fucking gun in the house. It's like, okay, well, let's go down to the store. And I'd buy this one, or this one. And then they decide on one of those, and the guy behind the counter is like, are you buying it for him?
No, buying it for them. But like, that's already so illegal that FFLs are obligated to watch for it.
Yes.
You're gonna. It's already illegal. We can't pull over and make it illegal any further.
It's illegal. Yeah. So that's the nine talking points.
Like what Andrew was talking about with the kids in La Crosse. Look at what happens every fucking day, every fucking weekend, even down in Chicago. You don't even care about the turtles.
Straw purchases.
But without straw purchase, what will we snowed our cocaine through?
But I mean, look at what happens on the fucking daily in gun control havens like Chicago.
I think I read this morning that Chicago yesterday Chicago had 4 killed, 21 shot.
Just this weekend.
Memorial Day weekend.
No. That was yesterday.
That was just yesterday.
That was yesterday.
Yeah, one day.
21 shot and 4 dead.
Yes.
In a city that has some of the strictest gun laws in the country.
Yes.
Well,
I think,
as we all
I think
know,
it might only be
with-
second to like New York City.
I was going to say, as we all know, New York and Los Angeles, who have incredibly strict gun laws, have zero gun violence whatsoever.
California, for the record, California has the most stringent gun control laws. It also has the number one of what they call mass shootings.
Yep.
So,
although
Boy, those gun laws really working.
The most dangerous place in the country though is still Washington D.C.
Yeah.
They are still the murder
Well, yeah.
capital.
Well, yeah, because
yeah,
it's full of murderers.
Look at all those people they murdered overseas.
Yeah, look at all the war criminals that live there.
I want to do a quick skim on this article. This is a FEE article. It's the federal government's own studies concluded its ban on assault weapons didn't reduce gun violence.
It's almost like we've been saying this for years.
What year did the assault weapons go into effect? Was that
94 to 04?
94 to 04.
And what year did the North Hollywood shootout happen?
Yes.
What year was
1997?
Columbine?
Yeah, it was
Let's see.
hey.
Let's see where do I
Well, you know,
want to get to.
they don't talk about Columbine anymore because remember they used like a shotgun and like a Mini 14.
Yeah.
So they used not scary guns with wood and everything. That's why they don't bring up Columbine anymore.
Yeah.
Right.
Because it doesn't fit.
They're not done with the scare. Yeah, they weren't done with the scary guns.
Let's see. A RAND review of gun control studies, which was updated in 2020, concluded that there's, quote, inconclusive evidence for the effect of assault weapons bans on mass shootings. That research is published in Criminology and Public Policy in 2020. It concluded that the bans on assault weapons, quote, do not seem to be associated with the incidence of fatal mass shootings.
I am shocked. I am absolutely shocked.
Yes.
Inconclusive translation. It clearly shows that it does nothing, but we don't want to admit it.
Exactly.
Yes. I don't want to read this whole article because they write way too much. So it is linked in our description, and it's
the
long
and short of it is the long and short of it is the study reveals that the assault weapons ban for 10 years did absolutely fucking nothing to curb violence.
It didn't reduce gun violence. That's what it comes down to.
And then you look at
because we talk about even I think 2019 is the latest numbers that we have from the FBI. Rifles was less than 500 people. Right?
Mm-hmm.
324, 367 or something like that. So that's less than 500 people. So an assault weapons ban would take out what, I don't know, 200 of those? Okay.
Well, yeah, and don't forget that what does an assault weapons ban do, right? It bans cosmetic components. So things like a threaded barrel where you can add a muzzle device.
Like California has an assault weapons ban, and we still have a whole shitload of people killed with rifles.
Yep.
You call them a pistol. Okay.
The funny thing is
that not a rifle anymore. It has a pistol, pistol brace on it. That's the word I was looking for.
Yeah, at that point it's a pistol. It's not a
rifle.
It's not a rifle. It's a pistol. And
yes.
The reality is a Ruger M&P 1522 would be banned with assault weapons bans because of the cosmetics. It's literally a 22.
Yes.
Yep.
And that still would get banned. The absurdity.
I have one of the CMMG kits.
The drop-in 22 bolt.
Oh, mine is not a drop-in. Mine is actually a dedicated 22 upper.
Okay. Yeah. So here's Brandon. He's from Northern California. I know where he's from. Notice how none of them are in NorCal, right? NorCal is a different world than California. It really is rural. There's a lot more guns. And there's no mass shootings in Northern California. It's because people don't care about gun laws.
Hey, you know where you don't hear about mass shootings? Humboldt County.
Unless you go up on the mountain. If you go up on the mountain and you fuck with some plants up there, you might get a mass shooting. But
right. Well, but that's not a mass shooting. That's a mass of shooters. That's only one person died. It's just that everyone else was shooting. But that's the thing though, is like where all these guns are, where they proliferate, right? Where there's lots and lots and lots and lots of firearms, particularly in rural areas and stuff where you have tons of firearms, you don't have mass shootings.
Well, yeah,
and it's because
think about where I'm at. My little town, 1,500 people tops, and that's during the busy season. I mean, you would never hear of a mass shooting around here because the chances of you walking away if you were to try something stupid are astronomically low, because chances are you would have gotten shot before you got the first 5 rounds off.
Yeah, by at least 8 different people. Don't forget that video where that guy tries to rob that like gun store.
Get shot by everybody in the store.
Yeah, literally everyone shoots him. Like that's what happens around here, man.
There you go. There's a Humboldt County reference. People just disappear up there. Yeah, Murder Mountain.
Yeah,
go watch that documentary.
I've been Humboldt. The funny thing is Humboldt County is the one part of California I've been to the most. Like I've been there like 8 or 9 times. It's the one place that I've been to frequently.
It's because they have great cheese, right?
Yeah, it's great cheese. It's fantastic. The people there were great. I loved it every time I was there. I thought it was fantastic.
Yeah.
But my favorite story ever
Wisconsin cheese though.
Yeah, it doesn't. But my favorite thing that
it's better though.
Humboldt County. My favorite thing. My favorite story though that I ever heard was from a guy there who talked about like when the cartel tried to muscle in once, and like sent 2 guys, like two sicarios, from a cartel.
Yep.
And that the cartel then proceeded to get them back several times over the course of a number of days. In like boxes. Like, no, you don't screw with those people up there.
Yeah, now they tried to muscle in up there, and it was like just no, and they ended up walking into Arizona. They're growing it near Flagstaff now.
Yeah, they're like, okay, well, this isn't going to work.
And the LA mountains. It's all over Southern California, and they didn't come north of into Humboldt. They tried.
Yeah.
They tried.
It's kind of the same thing as like the Purple Gang in Detroit during Prohibition, where Capone tried to just muscle in and received the heads and hands of the people he sent into Detroit back as an answer to that whole thing, and was like, okay, well, I guess I can negotiate with you guys. You think? Rusty said in the chat, he said there hasn't been a mass shooting in rural Wisconsin since Tri-Bang, which also wasn't a mass shooting. Really, it was a gunfight that injured 2 people.
Yep.
And that was it. That isn't even a mass shooting. That's a gunfight. That's all that is. And and Tri-Bang wasn't even from Wisconsin, right? He was from Minnesota.
No, I believe
from the
so.
Twin Cities, if I remember right.
All right, so let's get into this last article since I have such a hard time taking this article seriously.
Actually, Andrew Tri-Bang was a veteran, 6-year veteran of the California National Guard, shot 8 people while he unintentionally trespassed with a hunting group.
Really, 8 people? I only remember the 2, but I guess that was just the dad and the brother.
No, 8 people, 6 killed, 2 wounded.
Yeah.
Oh, and then it says he lived in St. Paul.
St. Paul. I told you he's from the Twin Cities. He's not even from Wisconsin. See, he's from a big city, originally from California. People out here, we don't do that shit, man.
Be like that time I just about got shot. I just about got shot by a Hmong guy when I was out bow hunting because his son of a bitch was trespassing.
See, and that's, but I mean, that's the thing is even that incident. Remember, all of the hunters that got shot, they all had like bolt actions, and he had an SKS. And the equalizer would have been if they'd all also had semi-automatics, they could have effectively returned fire.
All right. Jackson County woman says she caught STD in a car. Auto insurance payout is $5.2 million.
This is why you're supposed to check for bugs before you eat.
The Missouri Court of Appeals has upheld a $5.2 million judgment against an insurance company in the case of a Jackson County woman who claims she unwittingly caught a sexually transmitted disease from her former romantic partner in his car. I'm trying to keep it together. I really am.
Oh, that's just so bizarre.
In an opinion issued Tuesday, a 3-judge panel found that the judgment entered against Geico, that is the general insurance company, through earlier arbitration proceedings was valid. The insurance company sought to undo the action, claiming errors were made in the Jackson County Circuit Court, and the settlement was not in line with Missouri law. According to court papers, the woman identified in court records as M.O. that's apropos. Identified as M.O., notified Geico in February 2021 of her intention to seek monetary damages, alleging she contracted HPV, that is the human papillomavirus, from an insured member of his automobile. She contended that the man caused her to be infected with STD despite being aware of his condition and the risk of unprotected sex.
This is hilarious for several reasons. Hold on. One of them is the fact that like 85% of the human population of the world has HPV. Yes. Like it does basically nothing.
Okay. The insurance company declined the settlement, sending the case to arbitration. In May 2021, the arbitrator found that the man and the woman had sex inside the vehicle that, quote, directly caused or directly contributed to cause the HPV infection. The man was found liable for not disclosing his infection status, and the woman was awarded $5.2 million for damages and injuries to be paid by Geico. There's going to be people right now. There's going to be
full coverage. They really mean full coverage.
Yeah, full fucking coverage, dude.
I'm just waiting for Ford to get sued for like childcare.
I was gonna say I'm gonna sue Chevy for my daughter being born. Like
that's what it is. That's
all. Andrew, you need to sue Chevy for the mental anguish of hitting a bald eagle while driving.
Yeah, that Chevy. But also my daughter being born because the back seat of a Camaro is to blame for that. Yes. Clearly, it's the back seat of the Camaro.
It's absolutely Camaro's fault.
Part of this.
I'm gonna sue Omaha Flatware for making me fat.
Yes.
Part of this sounds more absurd than it really is. Like the objective student of law in me goes, well, what's actually happening is that he was sued. And because it happened in the vehicle, his insurance winds up having to pay out. The same way if your dog bites somebody,
because she was damaged in the car. That's why the car insurance is in order to pay.
Well, if you like assault someone, right, and then they're permanently injured and they sue you, if you have homeowners insurance, your homeowners insurance will have to pay out on that. That's what winds up happening. So it's the same thing with car insurance. If you are found to have used the car to cause somebody injury, the car insurance has to pay out, and they determine that you used the car.
I want to know what kind of car it was.
It's probably like a fucking Nissan Altima.
It was a Dodge Sprinter van.
Fucking AMC Pacer or some shit.
A Gremlin. The fucking Gremlin.
A Fiesta. Ford Fiesta.
Or what's that line in a Mallrats? He intends to fuck my girlfriend somewhere painful. Like the back of a Volkswagen?
It was an 82 Fiero.
An 82 Fiero.
An 82.
Fiero make the girls go woo woo.
Hey man, those cars are incredibly valuable because you can rip their bodies off and replace them with something much cooler. The funny thing is, everybody rebodies Fieros into Ferraris, and then remember a little while ago, the 458 Italia was having trouble where it was just bursting into flames at random. And I'm like, it's like they're trying to emulate, like, life imitates art. Look at that.
Well, that's
the
the Mazda Miata is used at the base for the Shelby Cobra body kits. Oh, I'm just putting that out there.
Miatas are on their own are just badass little whips. I fucking love Miatas. Love Miatas.
I have a hard time seeing you in a Miata.
Oh, dude, you throw me
They're
into
go-karts, bro. They're absolutely fucking go-karts.
Yeah, that's why they're so much fun. You throw me into an MX-5 that's got a decent like roll cage on it, and let me hit a track. It is a blast. You will never have.
That's how Andrew's gonna do. When Andrew dies, we're gonna put him in the Mazda, and we're just gonna send him off a cliff. And it's gonna hit a bald. It's gonna hit a bald eagle on the way down.
You see burst offenders.
Well, that's ironic.
And then bottle
I guess
rockets.
it wasn't just one time, huh?
Bottle rockets are gonna shoot out of your ass as you're going down.
Hey, when I die, I want to be.
I was gonna say we have to stick a stripper in the car with him.
Cremated.
If we're gonna push him off the cliff in a Miata, we got to put a stripper in the passenger seat.
Why do you want to ruin
Egyptian
a good stripper?
pharaoh? Yeah, why am I an Egyptian pharaoh? You're gonna sacrifice the house servants to.
Why does it have to be a good stripper?
Go with me to the afterlife.
I didn't say it had to be a good stripper.
Well, remember
this is one of the ones from like Tuesday night.
Well, you remember Vikings, when Vikings were put on the ship and sent off, they had a girl go with them, and everybody would fuck the girl the night before, and they could tell the girl to tell their chief in the next life that, hey, tell him I did this for you. Tell him how loyal I was. Yeah.
I mean, I feel like maybe a Miata is not equivalent with a Viking longship in a lot of ways.
Depends on how much money you have, bro.
I mean, it doesn't really, like, you don't come around the corner in Britain in a Miata and strike fear into the hearts of the village inhabitants immediately.
Depends on what's playing on the radio.
I mean, I don't feel like that matters. I feel like
if you come around the corner in a Miata and you're playing "Come Out You Black and Tans," just saying.
Yeah, but it's still a Miata. No, like, that's just farcical.
Just because he's arguing with us, I'm gonna stick him in a Kia because that has the same engine in it.
I got a job offer. Well, not a job offer. I got an invite to apply for a sales position at the local Kia dealership, and I laughed and I was like, "You know what's funny about that? That's like the one brand of car I don't think I could actually sell. I don't think I could bring myself to do it." That's like, I just thought it was really funny.
I just thought it was really funny because back when I used to drive around a little 4-banger Kia, because it got great gas mileage and that was it.
Put Andrew in a Subaru with the anime eyelashes and Ubaru.
But when I was working at one of the shops,
the license plate says Sinpa.
It's one of the dealerships. Yeah, one of the dealerships I worked at, we had a Miata come in, and the casting numbers on the engine were matched the ones on my car.
I mean,
it's the exact same fucking engine.
It might be the same engine, but trust me, like, the first time you drive a Miata and you drive it really hard on a nice windy road and stuff, you realize they are probably one of the most fun cars to own on the planet. They are an absolute blast.
If you tell them you're going to stuff them in the trunk of a Miata, they would be scared.
But I'm too big for that right now.
Andrew, my wife can fix that.
You'd be that one Dr. Weird cold open from Aqua Teen Hunger Force with I've lost 30 pounds manually with this, and he's got the chainsaw and his legs are just bones.
All right, let's throw out some. You know what I'm talking about. Do your thing.
Plugs, Andrew, plugs.
That's what I was looking for.
Yeah. Buy Erica's book. It's called Think for Yourself, Thinking Workbook for Beginners. It is available on Amazon now. Also, make sure that you check out our homie Dave at Poppins Patches. He's in the chat. Hi, Dave. And he makes fantastic patches, including, what side is it? This side. The ATF Red Coat that I absolutely love. He also makes the Redacted Shark. And he makes the wood chipper, a ton of stuff, the tricorn hats that two of the boys here are wearing. He makes those. Yep, he's got the Working Dead. He's got the Ban Fossil Fools. He's got the Twisted Tea, all sorts of cool patches, Ed and Eddie stuff. It's awesome. Definitely check out Poppins Patches. Also, if you want to care for your beard, if you want to check out thebeardstruggle.com, care for your beard like a Viking, like I do, use code InkedAnarchist15. You get 15% off of everything on your order for using that. It's super awesome. They have great scents. They have scents for the ladies now. They got all sorts of cool stuff. They got a beard straightener, beard wash conditioner. It's super great. And thebeardstruggle.com, use code InkedAnarchist15. Check us out on Rumble, Odyssey again. Check us out on MeWe. We all got banned. Most of us are banned from Facebook. We're all banned from Twitter. Our page is banned from Twitter. They hate us, which is why you guys should definitely make sure that you share this with your friends as well so that they can discover us, because it's getting harder and harder for us to promote it to anybody because they keep cutting us off.
Just on a whim created a Telegram channel.
Hey, we got a Telegram now. So check us out on Telegram.
It's Anarchy Monk Friends Roundtable Discussion, or t.me/AAFRTD.
There you go. So check that out. I would say check out Boog Boogie 79 on Twitter for the flags, but
he got it too.
Got banned from Twitter. We are an affiliate of RK Spookware. If you use the link in the description, you help support us, and you can get some pretty sweet stuff for all of your 3D printed shooty boys. Piss off the government by making shit yourself that they can't track. And it's none of their damn business, because the Second Amendment is your gun permit. Chris, you got something?
Just the one thing, if you are a big time coffee drinker like I am, check out the coffee brand coffee company, which is owned by Jeremy from the Quartering, and I am an affiliate, so if you use the link in the description, I get a little bit of kickback off of that just because you use my link. So
there you go. Everybody asking where Derek is. I don't know where Derek is. She didn't show up tonight.
We haven't heard from her. I think we might have chased her off.
I don't know, man. She's like, does adult stuff and things, and
she lost her BFF the other night, and
oh yeah, that's right.
She's taking care of that. So
yep. So she's unfortunately busy this evening, but she will be back in future episodes. She did say she was coming back, so don't worry about that too much. But yeah, I think that's pretty much it. I don't think we have any other plugs, unless any. As far as the flags and the shirts and stuff go, still working on that. Just got a lot harder because I don't have a Twitter anymore. But I'm gonna figure it out, man. It's just gonna take me a little bit. I got to regroup and replan.
Yeah. We'll be back together.
For the t-shirts, Andrew, reach out to Schaller.
Well, there's that. There's also, I still got to do the patches. I'm working with Dave on the patches as we speak, and the flags. I have a company that can make them. I just got to figure out pricing and all that stuff.
All right. You got anything else? Got anything else? I need to go pee.
In conclusion, fuck you, no.
Yep.
Hashtag fuck you, no. Go check out FPC.
That sounds like a show title.
I called it. We're gonna make it illegalier.
More illegally.
Yeah. So we're gonna make it more illegaler or something like that. So either way, on that note, we'll catch you on the next one.
Yep.
Peace.
Peace.